the dynamic of the business a little bit. Like we lose focus a bit and productivity, but that's kind of natural and self-explanatory in a way.
Yeah,
Let's just talk about
but
the
it's also
business versus personal stuff. That's a good one.
yeah, sure,
Okay.
no problem. Okay, let's go. So we have a jingle or something.
Dun 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 dun.
We should have a jingle at one point. It'll be
Two
nice.
dudes and a podcast.
Yes. Good.
Yeah.
With a mini joke. Good.
Good. It should be one of those radio things like two dudes, two dudes, two dudes, and a podcast. I mean, and a startup.
I'm pretty sure
God
we
damn
can
it.
get something like podcast. You always say that. I think we can get that on Udemy. Not on Udemy. On
YouTube of me?
Upwork.
Oh.
Whatever.
Oh, yeah, we can.
Yeah. So
So today's
oh
topic.
yes, go for it.
Today's
You
topic
want me?
is keeping your business life and your personal life separate. Can you do it? Should you do it? To what extent ought it be done? And what are the implications?
Yeah.
Well, you
Yeah.
came up with this topic, so I guess you might have some opening thoughts on it.
Yeah, I do. I do because the the main thing would be um, for sure you mix like the business and your personal life when your business partner is also a friend, and
Right,
when you
right,
and at one point maybe you also become friend with your employee because it can happen.
right.
And I know that some people like really like okay, well I'll talk with about the employee thing later because some people have like kind of two way of dealing with this. You have
Mm-hmm.
like the kind of old school way, which is like we keep separate. There's like this kind of invisible wall. We are polite and we like each other in school, like inside the company, but we are not really friends. So we not see each other outside. We
Right.
not mix the thing. And you have the second way, which would be like, who cares? We can be friends if we want, as long as it's keep professional doing the work stuff. So that's another thing. I was more about talking about the how you deal when you work with your partner. Your partner is also your friend, and how you can basically deal with it. Because I get several experience like doing this, and the three I get three experience. The three are very different. The first one happened 2006. In 2006, when I start a project with a good friend of mine. Well, we basically wanted to create like a small web agency in Bordeaux. He was living in Paris. He wanted to come in Bordeaux. And he say, hey, well, you freelancer. I work in Paris in this big agency for years. I want to go in Bordeaux. Maybe we can do something. And it was a good friend. Is a good friend of mine. So I was like, oh, well, man, it looked like a good idea. He's a very talented seller. Can really fucking sell anything. And I can manage the whole technical creativity kind of part of the company. So we were like, sure, well, let's do that. And we actually start doing it. So we create the company, we create the brand, the logo, the website. We rent an office in Bordeaux, and we start working. And pretty quick after, like during the first months, basically during the first months, uh, I really start seeing that we were working like completely two different ways. Like really, like the vision of the business and the vision of the management, the team management, the project management, like everything was really really different. So Edward was really. It's hard to describe him. It was like really like the cool dude. Like yeah, it's okay, bro. Well, we'll do this and that. Like calling people all the time, and what he was doing was kind of structured, but it wasn't really looking like structured. It was pretty weird. Well, anyway, the point is like after our first recruitment, I was really start thinking like, well, it's not going to end with well for our friendship. because they have friction, a lot of friction. So we have a conversation, and I basically say, well, if we want to continue to be friends outside the business, I think we should stop like collaborating on this project, because we have really two different personality and two different way to see the company, and we both 50-50 on this company, so we have equal level of decision, and nobody is in the middle to temper us, or and it's not good. It's no good as a game. It's just no good. If we were three and someone can just it would be maybe work, but like just the two of us is not possible. And I agreed on that. And we decided to stop doing this. And so we saved the company, we saved our friendship. Basically, this decision. So that's the first example. And the second one, which is interesting as well because it's linked to this one. Our first recruitment with our small agency was like a communication manager, communication manager. That's how we call it in France. And it was Alexis. And Alexis became my partner on my second project. So we met this way. And we had like a good contact, good feeling. And at this time, I was really into building my home agency. I really wanted to do it. So I was kind of disappointed that it's not working with Edouard, but I still wanted to do it. But I don't wanted to do it alone. I really wanted to do it with somebody. And if possible, somebody with skills that I don't have. And Alexis was exactly this person. So I basically left the first company to create mine with Alexis, basically. So we team up and we create 53 Mondays, which was my agency for almost 3 years, and everything was pretty cool. We had a really good relationship. Like the balance was perfect between my creativity and my. I'm not the most focused, and I'm pretty like spreading everywhere. And Alexis was more like focused and controlling and just taking care of the structure of project and everything. So we were like super complementary, and it worked just fine. It was really, really, really good. And yay! It was amazing for 3 years. And after that, I would just wanted to get back into freelancing. So it's nothing related to the relationship that I have with Alexis. And the company still exists. And Alexis moved to Paris now, and everything is fine. And so I get back to freelancing, and now we're working together, and it's another kind of relationship. Mm-hmm. We're not in a new company. We're not like we haven't created any company together and have like sharing in the company. We don't share like it makes sense, right? What I say. So we work together. We partner on what we're doing, but we are not partner on paper. We don't share. I have no share on your company. This is your company.
Well, with speedkills.io,
yes.
You are a partner, but the difference is that there's not a fixed equity distribution, so it doesn't have the same sort of traditional thing. But
that's a very.
You are a partner.
Yeah, on SpeedKills, definitely.
Yeah.
And it's a good point to point out the equity way, like the system we choose. Because with all my other business, and like with Alexis, and with Edouard, we were 50-50.
Right.
So each of us were owning 50% of the company. So we had like equal level of decision in the company. And so that's actually when we done that, our accountant tell us that it was a bad idea. Basically, say you should get both of you 48% and give me or give your banker or give another person 2%. So if you get at one point where you not agree on something vital for the company,
mm-hmm.
The third party can just like say, okay, we go this way. Uh, so yeah, that's the problem. Like when you do old school uh, sharing and partnership in company. But last year, you discovered this amazing concept for sharing equity,
Mhm.
uh, and that's amazing. That's just perfect. If you want to explain how it worked quickly.
Yeah, it's called Slicing Pie, and it's invented by this guy Mike Moyer, and it's the concept is this, that in a fixed equity split, like you had 50% of the company with 53 Mondays with your agency, and then your partner Alexei had 50% of the company. The problem comes in that when you sell your company, let's say you sell it for $1 million, you each get $500,000. The question is, did you each contribute exactly 50% of the work to make that exit possible? So, for example, if you did like 80% of the work, and he was just like goofing off 20% of the time, then you should really get 80% of the profits. And that's where a lot of the friction comes with founders, with partners. And that's something, because when we started Speed Kills, I didn't know why I felt that the 50-50 thing was kind of weird. Like I just didn't have like enough, but I knew it was off. And so when I started researching it, I found this slicing pie framework, which basically says that, look, you should get whatever you put into the company, whatever value you put into the company, you should get that amount back. And if it's an early stage startup, well, you're not contributing cash, you're contributing your time. So you have to apply a multiplier if and when you actually cash out or start distributing profits. So, and the cool thing is it applies to both of us equally. So it's my company, whatever, maybe, but if you do like 70% of the work, you're entitled to 70% of the profits if we exit. And that's absolutely fair. Why should I get, more than I've put in if you've done all the work? It doesn't make any sense. And I remember feeling really relieved, because by that time we had become really good friends, and I love you, man, and I value your friendship. And I thought, man, like what if we start this company and it ruins our friendship? Well, that would suck. And we met at
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu too. It's like, it's not like business was our reason for becoming friends. Like, no, we had a lot in common already.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's for me, that's the perfect safety net when if you want to do business with a friend. Because, well, I think like in every country you say the same thing, but we say that in France as well. Like, do not do business with friends. Do not do business with family. But if you look at why actually we say that, well, we say that because when it comes to money, well, that's when the shit hit the fan, basically. As soon as you get on money, because if you're on the old school system and you earn an amount, like a defined amount of equity for whatever reason, and you don't do shit, or your partner think like you don't do shit,
Right.
well, you still own those percentage, you still have those equity. So that's why actually we say that don't do business with friends, don't do business with family. But with the system, it's like it's not. I mean, it's useless now. Do business with friends, do business with family, and basically you earn your equity because you actually work for the company. You actually do stuff, so you can just
Right.
chill out. Yeah, well. So yeah, I think it's an amazing system. That for sure. And anybody that want to work with a friend or with family should definitely use the system. I think like every company should use the system.
Yeah. Every early stage startup, basically.
Yeah. I guess when you get super big, and you start to have employee and everything, maybe it become a bit different. I don't know. Maybe not.
That's actually part of the framework, is like, what should you do once your company gets to a certain level? How is this, in other words, is this framework applicable past a certain point? And the answer is not really, is you have to go to a
Yeah.
more traditional structure. And Mike also discusses that as well. But again, this is for early stage startups.
Yeah. To be sure that the people that actually do the work get what they deserve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it
Yep.
makes sense. Did you get some experience like working with friends or family?
No. Well, let me think. I've talked about it in a previous podcast that I worked with a friend and it was kind of a bad experience. And my perception was that he took advantage of me, and I did a lot of work for him at a very discounted rate, and I kind of held his hand, and then he requested a bunch of money to be refunded, and that's our policy, so I did it. And then we were kind of friends before that, and I always had sort of like a not so good feeling about this guy. Like, he was cool to hang out with, but I wouldn't really trust him fully. And I was trying to listen to that feeling when he asked to do some business together, and I should have said no, but I said yes. Okay, so I learned a lesson the hard way. But the point is that at the end of that situation, it affected our personal relationship because I decided I don't want to. Not only do I not want to do business with this guy, I really don't want anything to do with him anymore. Because to me, the way that you treat people's money, which is how they put food on their table, how they take care of themselves and their loved ones, is one of the clearest reflections of their character.
I agree.
You know, if the way that you do business with somebody, if it's unethical or if it's shady, that's not a reflection of how you do business. That's a reflection of who you are. And you say, oh, it's just business. It shouldn't let you influence your personal relationships. I completely disagree. If you can do business with somebody successfully and you trust each other and you have a good result, that is like a verification that you're both not total assholes in a way.
Yeah, sure. Completely true. And well, actually, I can use also the example of our friend Josh. It's a good friend of us, both of us, and I actually work with Josh as well as a freelancer. So he's a friend, he has his own company, and he also worked with me sometime on some project. And yeah, everything is all right. And I think it's because he actually act like exactly the same way you say. I mean, if you're professional, if you can act this, I mean, if you can act this way, if you can just like respect the person you work with, well, everything is okay. And usually, like people that if you like this, if you behave this way in your life, in your everyday life, if you respect people, if you like, yeah, usually you kind of the same in your professional life.
True.
So yeah, I think it's a good. Yeah, well, you can't judge. I mean, I guess sometimes it can be different, right? Because everybody's different.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would say, yeah, you should be just professional. Everything should be
I
okay.
think that's the key word, Leslie, is because you know what I found is like when somebody asks you for something and it's sort of vague, like, hey man, I'm having this problem, like, what do you think, can you help me out?
Yeah.
It's like, well, what does that mean? Does that mean that you want to engage me and you want to pay me money, or do you want me to work for you for free? Because that is the dichotomy.
Mm-hmm.
It's one or the other. Or you're doing it because you think that it might result in more work, But again, that should be clear too. So when you say the word professional, what you're really saying is, here are the terms of how we're working together. Here are the expectations, and they're very clear and well defined, so that nobody's going to wind up butthurt at the end of it.
Yeah. Completely. And actually, I think what you just say is a very good way to filter how you're going to work with friends.
Absolutely.
Because if your friend just like ask you the way you just say, hey, Vic, can you help me with my website? I want to do this and this. Well, that's unprofessional. I mean, well, that request means nothing. It's like super vague. And you don't go to your doctor and say, like, hey, well, like, I feel kind of weird. Can you do something to me? Oh, yeah, sure. Take these pills. Well,
Yeah.
That's Thailand.
Yeah, that's Thailand. Here, take these antibiotics.
So you will not act this way with your doctor. Or if you go for like a plumber, you will not say like, hey, well, just check out my stuff there. Something weird. You will say like, hey, these things don't work.
Yeah.
So yeah, do the same when you, if you want to work with a friend of you, you should exactly ask for what you want. And most important, you should start your request by, I would like to hire you to help me out to do
Yes.
this.
Yes.
And that's perfect. Like if it start this way, all good, go for it. But if you start by, hey, can you help me out? Mm, no, you know,
Yeah,
be
no,
careful.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I was
that's
even thinking too, because you're not really doing that person a favor by doing them a favor. You're actually um, making them not value your time and your work and not
mhm.
value what they get as a result. Like, let's say you help somebody with a website for free or as a favor. They're not going to value it because they didn't pay for it. That's
Yeah,
just
sure.
the way we're wired. It's
Mhm. Well, that's. I remember like one day you were telling me that. I mean, that's something I know, but like whatever you telling me like every, if you ask somebody to do something, you should pay this person for his time. You know? It's a professional thing. Like if I ask anybody for his time, even if it's not like a like properly work, but like if this guy is there is a developer and I have a question about whatever around development, and this guy take like an hour to have a call with me, for example, well, this guy deserves to be paid because I took 1 hour of his time and he not producing something for me, but he gave me his knowledge, you know. And I actually see you do that a lot, like going to ask stuff to people and take some of their time. And the first thing you ask is always like, "Hey, can you give me your PayPal, and I will send you money." Yeah. And I was like, "Oh man, that's yeah, that's definitely like uh, actually show exactly the way you work. You know, it's like, oh, okay, this guy is legit. You know? He's it just kept in my mind. I was like, yeah, that's definitely a good way to, yeah, people time. It's money basically. So you
absolutely.
should get paid for the time you spend on whatever it is. If it's a call, it's a call. So and
Hmm.
yeah, well, I remember. You know what? I give Jana a first job on Upwork,
Yeah.
and request I request some copywriting for like a good design,
Hmm.
and she
And you
do
paid
it.
her.
So, yeah, I paid her, of course. I mean, I paid her,
Yeah.
and she said, "Well, like I will send you like that on PayPal." I was, what? No, you're not going to send me anything. You spend 2 hours working on this, and I just paid you your 2 hours.
Yeah.
Nothing to send me back. And they say it's a job. You do the job, so you
Yeah.
deserve to be paid.
That's right.
And yeah, and I have my small Vic somewhere that was like, that's good, better one.
Good.
Good.
Well, you know what, man? You know that's you kind of hinted at a really interesting result of working with another person who you like and who you respect, like an intelligent human being, is that you learn stuff from them. I've learned a lot of good stuff
Yeah.
from you. It sounds like you've picked up a few things from me, hopefully the good stuff and none of the bad stuff, but that's like that's a pleasure. Plus, like when you trust each other, you're vulnerable, right? Like we could tell each other like really intimate stuff, and it's like, okay, I trust this person. They're not going to shit on my feelings. They're not going to tell my business to other people, and you can like be real with each other. And when you have that kind of trust, when somebody gives you advice and it's coming from a place of respect and caring for that person, you're like, you know what, this person, they don't have any agenda other than to help me, and that's why they're giving me this advice. Maybe I should listen to it because and that's when you actually open yourself up to listening, is when you're convinced that somebody doesn't have an agenda, right? That like that's the biggest obstacle in communicating something to somebody or like selling somebody on something, is overcoming that resistance that they have some ulterior motive, and they often do.
Mhm.
So it's pretty natural
That's
reaction.
true. Well, actually, yeah, that's a very good point. And yeah, actually something you should think about. Like, did you get that with your partner? You know, you that listen to the podcast, if you have a partner, did you get this level of like connection? Can you just be like open and learn stuff with your partner? And yeah, I think when you like into the old school kind of company stuff, like the 50-50, because this is definitely the most common thing. You know, yeah, not sure. That's our agenda.
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 Yeah. Well, you know, like part of me I always told myself that I don't want to have a partner because I want to do the 4-hour work week thing. And I don't want to be dependent on somebody, and I want to do my own thing. But I see now that was short-sighted, because you can't possibly cover all of the skill sets that you need to grow something legit, and you need other people's help. Like, I mean, even if you're all doing the same kind of work, which I don't know any company where that's the case really, unless it's like a development house or something. And even then there's project managers and salesmen and whatever. It's like you just can't do everything yourself, and you shouldn't do everything yourself. That's a huge mismanagement of your time, especially as your role in the company evolves. You should be very strategic with your time. And I'm finding now that as our business has declined a little bit in the past few months, you know, it's always a roller coaster, obviously, but you know, these past few months we've lost a good amount of business for MemberFix, and my role has kind of shifted back to doing tasks again, because, well, we can't pay all those same people that were doing the tasks, and it sucks, but that's just the name of the game, you know. And I want to bring up one more point. Maybe you can comment on this. Is like I was traveling, right? I went and visited my family in Philly, and I asked you twice on two separate occasions. I'm like, hey man, I gotta do all this driving. I'm gonna see all these people. Can you cover tickets for a while? Can you sort of take my role as project manager and take care of some of this stuff? And you're like, yeah, sure. And I knew that as soon as you said that, like, it'd be covered. Like, I wouldn't even have to think about it again. Like, because I trust you. I know you're going to do what you say you're going to do. And so thank you for that. And obviously, if the shoe is on the other foot and you're traveling, you're doing whatever, you're like, Vic, I'm going to be out for a while. You need to assign, you need to take care of this, assign this to other people. Of course, you know. And it's nice to have that fluidity in our company.
Yeah, no, sure. And I think like what you were saying, like, well, first, most of the big players would say that you need to delegate.
Mm-hmm.
You don't delegate, you need to delegate.
Okay.
Stick back to the getting like advice and growth from working with other and with your partner, for example. If you don't have this trust relationship, if you don't have like a partner with this trust relationship, how are you going to grow? If you're alone, if you do that 4 hours work week, whatever, you don't have any partner, who's going to give you those feedback that you will never take those feedback for anybody else? Like, someone show up that you don't know, or someone you work with and say like, hey, you know, I think tell you something really hard to listen, something you do, and tell you that, you're like, yeah, well, fuck you, you're fired. You know, you will not really listen to it.
Yeah,
but if it's your partner, like you were saying, it's like it's someone you trust. So if you tell you like, man, I think you fucked up this whole thing because you have done this and this and this and this. You know? So that's hard to read. You're like, shit, because nobody want to hear that they fucked up anything.
Yeah.
But it's your
But
partner.
is it true?
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's the thing.
That's the question.
You will be way more like, you will listen more to that. You will be more receptive to listen to what he has to say and ask you a question and grow. But if you're alone and if you don't have any relationship this type with your partner, well, yeah, there's no growth there. You will continue to do the same mistake or work the same way just forever. So It's just like I can see how we influence each other. Like I can definitely see how I work. Like when we work together or when we work like remotely, like we are at the same now. Like you're in the States, I'm in France, and I can see how when we work together, I definitely I'm way more focused on what I do and more structured on my work when we work together because you influence me on this. I'm more like, yeah, I'll do that in an hour, or I'll do that tomorrow, or like it just makes my time like I don't have like structured way of working, but when we work together, I get this kind of structure from you because well, this is the way you do stuff. So yeah, I think it's one of the way you definitely influence my work for sure.
Yeah, and on the flip side of that, I think we're complementary because I have that kind of like really aggressive style and like just really like try to organize and like just pull the trigger, what is it, ready shoot aim kind of approach. And you're more like easygoing kind of person, and that balances me out because sometimes I get like just I don't know, I get myself worked up into like a nervous state, and I'm just like, and you're like, it's all good, man. Like, it's
Yeah,
all
that's
good, bro.
very true.
It's all good, bro. Like, what's the big deal? I'm like, oh yeah, it is all good. Oh
Oh yeah,
man,
that's true.
I'm glad you brought up jujitsu. I'm glad you. I just want to say, because we're talking about shit. I want to say like four things at once. All right, number one, I forget what book this is. I read this really cool book, and it was talking about like the characteristics of the most successful CEOs of the 20th century. Like, what do they kind of have in common? How do they operate? Whatever. And the conclusion was that for the most part, they're these really humble guys. Keyword humble. Really kind of these strategic ninja guys, not these loud A-type personality motherfuckers who are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just get like, they're just these really quiet strategic guys who just get shit done, and then they go home to their family or whatever. I thought that was really interesting because there's this huge gap between like what appears to be effective business and what actually is effective business, and you can't judge a book by its cover in this area, I found. And the reason that I bring that up is because we're talking about like you have to be more and more strategic about how you use time. Well, like, here's my to-do list. It's like a million things. It's like 4 pages long. Is it possible to do all of these things? No. Will all of them have an equal impact on business? No. So you have to be strategic. How does that apply to jiu-jitsu? Well, that's what jiu-jitsu teaches you, man. It teaches you effectiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Because efficiency is doing something well, but what if you're doing the wrong thing well? Like, what if you're just checking off all of these low impact tasks on your to-do list? You're being efficient, and then you get the little dopamine rush of like check, 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 check. But are you adding any value to your company? Are you really moving your business forward? Maybe, maybe not. And the final thing I want to say is, when I was up in Philly, I trained at 2 jiu-jitsu gyms. One of them charged me a $20 drop-in. That's the first thing I say when I go there. It's like, hey man, I'm in town, I'm visiting. Can I drop in? Like, what's your fee? Whatever. It's like, oh, don't worry about it. Just train, right? And then in the first gym, they're like, I said, okay, cool, man. So like, what's the drop-in fee? Let me pay you. And he's like, oh, it's $20, and I paid him. And then the other gym, I trained with them. He's like, oh man, don't worry about it. I was like, are you sure, man? Like, I would feel better if I paid. He's like, nah, don't worry about it. Actually, that happened twice in Virginia Beach as well. And that makes me feel like I'm indebted to those people because they're just so, it's so cool to let somebody into your house basically to train with all these guys, to instruct you, and then you won't even accept payment. that's a strategic move on their part. That's jujitsu because they know that it's gonna advertise for them. Whereas if you take that first $20, well, maybe it's gonna be like a bad move, like a wrong move. And point being is like, jujitsu teaches you technicality in all aspects of your life. It teaches you humbleness because you get your ass kicked all the time, and like no matter how good you think you are, some days you walk into the gym and you just get your ass whooped, and it's like, and you learn from everybody. You learn from white belts, from black belts. Everybody can teach you something, and it just opens your mind and makes you humble in a way that, especially if you're not naturally inclined to be a humble person, and if you're kind of arrogant, it's a really positive force.
For sure. It will crash your ego on the mat really bad. That's for sure. And you know what, it reminded me like when you were talking about effectiveness. Well, actually, Bruce Lee have a really nice quote that emphasizes all this. He was saying like, I'm not afraid about the guy that know 5,000 way of punch me. I'm afraid of the guys that I know one way that he trained 5,000 times. Does it make sense? I'm sure it's kind of a bit different, but I guess you understand the whole concept, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's applied to jiu-jitsu. You have a shitload of techniques, but if you just like if you know, if you can do like a little bit, if your move are just good enough on every technique, or if you're just like the best guy on the planet on three, well.
I remember watching like a video, and I think it was Dave Camarillo who went on to open. He was one of the openers of AKA San Jose. He's like this famous judo and jiu-jitsu guy, and he trained with the original Ralph Gracie school, which I think was in Mountain View, or it might have been in San Francisco after that, which is where BJ Penn trained as well. And I remember him saying that they drilled arm bars from the closed guard, like hundreds of times on each side, like as white belts and blue belts. And then the black belts would come in to train with these guys, and the white belts and the blue belts would arm bar them from the guard.
Yeah. Hell yeah, bro. You know what? Hell yeah. I don't want to get into like a jiu-jitsu podcast, but dude, hell yeah. When you see like blue belts just try to fucking bearing below you and do like fucking fancy crazy shit, like dude, seriously? Well, yeah. I'm not going into this, but I am with you.
The place where I'm training now, there's a really cool brown belt, this guy Colin, and we were rolling, and he's smaller than me. I think I've got like maybe 5, 6, 7 kgs on him. And he had me in his closed guard. He's a brown belt, so he's a good brown belt. And he had me in his closed guard, and he got the collar grip, like the cross collar grip, which is nowadays most guys don't play like collar chokes from the closed guard. It's just not in fashion. Yeah. So when he had this grip, I didn't really respect it. I'm like, well, what's he gonna do with this? Cross collar choke me? Then he fucking reaches over and he goes, and I'm like, shit, I'm about to go to sleep. Tap. And he did it like twice on me, and I was like, man, that old school stuff is very, very legit.
Yeah.
And especially if you do it right, and especially if you drill it a million times. And this is kind of an old school academy, so that they're doing that kind of stuff. And they're doing self-defense, which is fucking great, dude. It was the most fun ever.
That's the essence of jiu-jitsu, right? So.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we kind of got off the track there. I think the original topic was like, okay, let me ask you this. When we work together as partners and we're also friends, what kind of friction do you find that you encounter, or what kind of feelings of being pulled between friendship and business do you encounter, if any?
Well, I would say mostly it will be more that I think it will be like our way of working are so different. I feel that what for me will be more than I will say that I feel mm, like you. How I can explain that? Uh, if you can find my word, it will be. mm,
Spit it out already.
yeah. I mean, just like I would say it. I would say that my main point will be that sometime, I mean, many times, I will feel that you work, you do way more stuff than I do, and I will feel like bad. I feel like, dang, I'm not doing enough stuff, you know.
Like
Or
you're
I
not
see you with,
contributing or something?
you always like have like a million stuff to do. I mean, every time I saw you, you fucking work like literally like when we were in Phuket, you were just like working like a lot. And I was thinking I'm working a lot as well. But every time I was taking a break or like stopping working and I was working in front of your room, you were working. Or you have a call, or like you were doing like something business related. And yeah, so I think it will be that. I will many times I will feel that I'm not provide enough uh, for everything we do compared to what you're doing.
That's so funny that you say that because I was just asking myself the same question that I just asked you, and I thought, well, we have an arrangement, right, where I pay you X amount for X amount of like hours of work per week, and sometimes I feel that I'm asking too much of you because I'm saying, hey, like we've got all these tickets open and blah 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 blah, and your reply would be like, yeah, well, but I'm only doing the 90 minutes per day. I already did my 90 minutes, so see you tomorrow, which is completely uh, understandable. I mean, that's the arrangement. You know what I mean? Like if you want to do more stuff, I need to pay you. Well, for member fix, right? For speed kills, that's
Yeah.
different because it's with Pi, so you could work as much as you want basically and contribute as much as you want with the promise of future equity. Um, it's just funny that we have these sort of.
Well,
But do you mean on business in general, like not necessarily on the stuff we're working on, but even on your stuff?
yeah. I mean, business in general. I mean, I
Oh,
think it's the kind of you have this how you say that like you see things through a prism, right? It's not like it's not the
hmm.
reality. It's your reality. It's the way you feel stuff. Um, it's just like I feel when I see you that you do more than I do. It's the way I feel. So it's not. I mean, it's, there's nothing you can do about it. but but yeah, that's the thing.
Oh, the crazy thing is that there's people who work way more than we do.
Oh fuck yeah, dude!
Who,
You always have someone in the fucking garage that do 10 times what you're doing and going to kick your ass.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, but again, like the whole topic of this podcast is work-life balance when you're already working a lot because you're in a fucking startup. And it's like, well, okay, do you want to work 3 extra hours per day or do you want to go hit the gym? Which one is ultimately more beneficial to your life? I mean, maybe you'll get like rich quicker. You'll make your millions quicker if you do the extra work, but
You will die quicker.
yeah, you'll die quicker and your quality of life will suffer. And I was up in Philadelphia and I was visiting like my brother and my cousins and stuff. They work way more than we do. Like, well, one of my cousins and my brother, they have 9 to 5 jobs, right? In addition to my brother's 9 to 5 job, which he's up at like 5, he has 2 kids too, which you can imagine is insane.
Fucking job.
See, he's up at like 5:30 every day, take, breakfast for the kids to daycare or school. Then he's off to work, and then in the evening, it's like he doesn't have time to exercise really. He's picking up his kids and making them dinner, taking them to the park, taking them to ballet, blah blah blah. Obviously, his wife is helping, and he does real estate on the side, like on the weekends and whenever he has free time. So he's just like 24/7, and he doesn't really take care of his health the way he should. That's a sacrifice I'm not willing to make personally.
Mm.
Now, and I don't think you are either, really.
No.
All right. Now, one of my cousins, he owns a business, and he's kind of doing what we're doing, but in the offline world. So he's working a lot, but he's kind of like stoked about what he's doing. So it's a bit of a different situation. Now, my other cousin, He works from home, but he has a 9 to 5 job. He works all the time. I'm talking about like 12, 13-hour days that he was doing for a while. I don't think he's doing them now. And it's like, and this is what he told me. This is really interesting. He said, because there was a recession in the US, and he said it used to be that you'd have like 6 weeks to deliver a project. Okay. And you're getting paid X amount and you're expected to work X amount, like 40 hours a week, right? Now, let's say you get 4 weeks to deliver the same quantity of work, the same kind of project. You're getting paid the same amount and they're expecting results. Well, what can you do? You have to work longer days. You're not getting any extra money. But they moved the line back basically and saying, well, let's see how much we could squeeze out of our, and see, I don't like that because what it means basically is that you've made an arrangement with your employee and you say, this is what you're getting paid for, this amount of work or these results. But now we're going to change the terms, but you're going to get paid the same amount. How is that in the least bit fair? You know what I mean? So we don't have to deal with any of that bullshit. We can go exercise. We don't do 13-hour days. I don't think I've ever done a 13-hour day with you. I mean, you say we work a lot, but compared to who, you know?
Yeah, exactly. No, that's true. That's definitely true. But yeah, well, but I can see how we influence each other for sure. I mean, yeah, definitely. Here, I'm like on my side project, I'm like not as productive I will be if we were somewhere.
And I guess we know that, which is why we're meeting back up and we're going to...
Hell yeah, we're going to crush it in BDG.
I think we will, man. I think 2018 is going to be a huge year for us. There's a lot of stuff we've been working on that's like almost there, not quite there, including your art project. Oh, here's a question. How if you don't want to talk about it, that's cool too, but how has it been working with Jana? Do you guys have like a positive, productive effect on each other?
Well, okay. So on the business, on both business part, like me working and her working on her own business, we do our stuff. We like focus and we do our hours. But on our common business, on our project, it's super hard to get into stuff. I think it's a combination of different things. First, I think we are really alike, Jana and I. We both creative, we both artists, we have kind of the same personality. So we're not really pushing each other enough to like, okay, let's do this. And we're in France. We are in France. I'm in my family house, and yeah, I have other stuff to do, like family related, and I'm distracted, kind of distracted when I do the stuff I have to do in the house, or for the family, and I have to do my work day, and I have actually time to do something. I more like to just chill or read a book or not to like work again.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's really the environment to be here. I'm just lazy because I'm in my family. So I think if I was abroad, like in Thailand or in Colombia, it will be different. Like in Thailand, I was wake up super early, just do my stuff. Here, it's really hard to wake up fucking early because if I wake up early, it's night. It's like pitch black night. So it's weird. You wake up, it's like you wake up in the middle of the night, so you don't really want to wake up early.
Right.
So I think it's a combination of stuff. But well, actually, we had a meeting this morning with Jana. I was like, okay, well, we have to set up like hour where we're going to do stuff. So, but yeah, well.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting how your environment sort of influences your productivity too.
Oh man, yeah. And it's, definitely. Like the weather, it sounds stupid, but honestly, the weather,
no, it's not stupid.
Fine. It's super dark. It's autumn here, so and everything is weird. We come from like a way of working in Thailand when you can wake up at 6 in the morning, at 5 in the morning, it's like bright light, and you just like body reacts to that. It's like, okay, ready to go. You just work. And basically by 12, you almost done everything you have to do in your day.
That's the best feeling, bro.
Yeah. By 12, you have like already like an 8-hour day in your basket. So it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the weather. It's like sunny. Then you go to the beach and go to swim, and they all come. And you come from this, and you end up like in France, where like it's rainy because it's autumn, and at 5, 6 it's night. At 6 in the morning it's fucking night as well. And you get sick because the change of temperature and stuff.
Did you get sick?
Oh, I get like my nose get like a little.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that, but not really sick. Jana gets sick though. Then you with your family. My mom cook every day like crazy amount of food.
Yeah, same here.
So
and we're drinking wine every night as well.
Oh my god, bro, it's the same here. I mean, like honestly, we like 6 days ago we had like maybe 6 bottles there. Like they're all gone. We drink a lot. And Jana come back from Portugal last weekend. She brought like a Porto.
Yeah.
Super nice Porto. We fucking alcoholic.
Yeah. I was thinking like when we get to Medellin, I was like, all right, now I'm here with my dad. And what's weird, we've been drinking a lot of French wine. We've been drinking like white Bordeaux, which is amazing.
Well, what else? Come on.
What?
What else? What other wine you want to drink?
Oh man, dude, I have a cuvee right here. My dad just went on a shopping spree for wine the other day, and but I thought, okay, when we get back to Medellin, because it's expensive too. The other thing is, so it's gonna be like time to work, and I thought of it like it's cool that we have this sort of roller coaster because we can. You need that. If you just have one flat line routine for like years and years, you lose the fun of it.
Oh, dude, that's exactly the way I see it. I was saying that to you. I mean, it's exactly the way I see it. I mean, it's perfect. It's good that we have this 1 month, 2 months break where we eat a lot of food, we drink wine, we eat cheese, and we kind of chill, but we continue to work and whatever. And we get back to work when we get in the
Yeah.
Well, you have to just.
That's what it is, man. Well, you know, there's a time to reap and a time to sow.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, I guess it conclude the podcast.
I guess so. Let me kill the recorder here.